Hi, I'm Kelly Rowlett Pressgrave. I'm president and CEO of Work With Your Hands, and we are so proud to be a sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast. You can reach us at workwithyourhands.com. Kelly at workwithyourhands.com is my email.
At Relentless Digital, we believe in breaking barriers and driving innovation. That's why we are extremely proud to sponsor the Power Women of the Trades podcast, supporting the voices and success of women in the home service industry. Together, we're creating a future where talent shines, regardless of gender, and diversity thrives. Join our journey at relentless-digital.com and always be relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Hello everyone. We want to give a quick shout out to our amazing partner, Rilla, the game changer in the home service industry. Rilla's virtual ride-along software means no more physical ride-alongs. With Rilla, you can coach your team virtually 100 times faster and boost your close sale rates like never before. Don't miss out. Join the movement today and watch your sales soar. Visit rilla.com/PWT to learn more.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. We are in Dallas, Texas. I keep forgetting there's been so much travel at the Women in HVACR conference. And today we have Jen McKee with us. I say so excited in every episode, and I've been trying to reframe that. I'm always just so excited, but so excited because Jen, a couple things. Number one, Jen is with Kee Hart Marketing. And Jen, first of all, is behind the first plumber that was ever on TikTok. What a trend you started.
Right.
Jen is also an original sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast and is still a sponsor and does all of our socials for Power Women of the Trades and is amazing. We love you. But excited to talk today. You had a breakout session here and kind of just talk more about what that is. What was your
roundtable?
Your roundtable.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. Kee Hart Marketing, we specialize in social media for the trades, but more and more people are getting really interested in how to use social media for their personal brand, which is, my personal brand on social media has been a big reason that I've had the success that I've had because it's people work with people, even from a business standpoint, even as a contractor, owner, a plumbing and HVAC company, building up your personal brand, it can be super valuable asset. So the session today was on personal branding, basically the same framework that we've used for contractors. We figured out with the help of my robot ChatGPT that it's the exact same thing I've been doing for my personal brand. And so I was able to kind of turn it into a framework that other people can use because I think that people get really stuck on what to talk about. I want to post on social media. I don't know what to say. I know you don't have that problem.
LOL.
Cassie knows what to say.
Yes.
But I was telling Cassie right before we started recording that when I was showing my team this framework, I was like, if you want to follow somebody who does a good job with their personal brand on social media, it's Cassie Pound. And I even said Cassie definitely has some controversial takes, which when in teaching personal branding, that's a decision that you have to make. Because whatever you say is who you are and that's okay. And you get to decide where those lines are drawn in your personal brand.
Yeah. We kind of stopped the conversation so we could make sure we got this on recording. And I have some opinions on that, right? I can say controversial things. Sometimes I'm why is that controversial though? Why am I just because if maybe social media is only one side and we want to show another, I think for data, we should show both sides, right? Or we should talk whatever. But when I was building my personal brand, the brand of Cassie Pound, I was not always that because you have to build who you are. If you just come out of the gate like controversy only, people have to, there are a lot of people who know me and know my heart.
There has to be trust first before you get to that side.
If you just come in,
I was just going to say, you have to build, just like with our business, the foundation of who you want to be seen as before you jump into having the sensitive conversation that could go sideways really quickly if you don't gain control of it.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes what's unfortunate as a woman is my hot takes can sometimes be reframed as drama when you know for sure that if a man was using that same hot take, it would have been really empowering and not drama, you know? And I'm always like, love that. But that's just something that you just kind of have to know is going to happen. Like I said, I wasn't always who I am now when I was building my personal brand. Let me back up. I was always who I am, but I was careful with what I shared because I want people to trust me. And I don't want you to think I'm just like some ludicrous lady that's going off the chains. Like most of the time, there's a lot of facts that I have, from my opinion, right? It all comes back to me being a mama bear. Like I just want to protect everybody.
Yeah. But so, okay, now I feel like I'm leading it. Let's talk about this, Cassie.
Yeah,
okay. I want to come back to the idea of like when you can make that turn and like how you decide what to do. Because I think, first of all, a lot of people struggle with like, what is my personal brand? What am I going to post about? Where is the line on what to share? And you get to decide where that line is for you. And I think that you made a really good point. Like when you're building, you have to be more neutral because you have to get to that point where people already like you.
Then they can decide if they really still like you.
And I think if anybody stays neutral and doesn't
because there's also
give an opinion at some point where you have to figure out where that turning point is. But I mean, you build that foundation of who you are. If you stay neutral the whole time, that's bullshit.
Then you just turn into a puppet. Sometimes you can't, not always. You can.
If you're riding the line and you're going back and forth and you don't have any
you have to take a stand on some things.
One of the sides, right?
In an appropriate way, but stay neutral and have people
that
remember
follow you
like in a profound way.
I mean, look at it in politics, right? Like there's one side or the other. And even when that gets frustrating, because all the time I talk about, for me specifically, I stand with people and I want to stand with people, but politics, it's just one side or the other. But there's a reason why politics is one side or the other, because you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. What song is that? Anyways, that's a country song. Okay. That's a 90s country song. We're going to find it. Okay. So, but you do, because then that's when you get not necessarily a following, but people that relate to you, because everyone wants to relate to them.
Yeah. That's the first part of the personal branding is in the personal brand framework, which you do this naturally, probably. You don't know that you're doing this. And that's what happens is some people are really naturally good at this. They just figure it out. And that's what happened with me is I just naturally was doing this. And that's why I had to go to my robot and say, what am I doing?
Yes.
And broke it down into the framework, but it was the same framework that we're using. So it makes sense that it works. But 50% of your content, I say 50%. So like half of your content should be just relatable content. So sharing what you're doing, sharing that you're at the Women in HVACR conference, sharing that you're taking your daughter, Taylor Swift, that I haven't gotten over it yet.
Yeah, she's not recovered.
Jen is still traumatized from that.
I'm going to watch Cassie's Facebook. At least she'll post the video. But sharing the celebrations in your life, sharing like the day-to-day things that you're doing, sharing the new shoes that you bought, sharing whatever that is. And so you start to create this vision of who you are when you're sharing those things. Like, and these themes that come out in your stories that you tell that are the themes of who you are, like their community or family. And there's probably like 5 themes. So what ChatGPT figured out is that I talk about community involvement, which happens to be the trades community, like the different events that I'm going to. I talk about the way that my family supports me in building this business, which then is relatable to other people who have support in building a business, and daily habits and how they contribute into life, and my fitness story and how it relates to my business journey. And so I recommend using ChatGPT to help you if you struggle with understanding what these themes are. I have a workbook. You can literally copy and paste it and then tell ChatGPT like, okay, help me fill this in. And it'll give you prompts to like work through the whole thing. You come up with these themes and those are the things that you post about. But on a really simple sense, it's literally just documenting the things that you're doing and posting them on social media.
So I feel like I've been in like this 10-year build of myself through social media. And when we were at the Next Star Super meeting, we saw Gary Vee speak. And one of the things he said was, he was like, I am, I've sold all these things. I've done all these things. He's amazing, right? But he's like, you don't know anything about my family.
Right.
Because I've chosen not to share that.
That's the boundary.
Yes. And that's his boundary, right? I have boundary. There's a lot of people that think they know every single thing of our life.
Yeah.
I do share our family. I do share a lot of our family and transparency of like who we are, the size of our family, our kids, our grandkids, all those things, right? Especially like we just had grandkids and I did not share anything about my grandkids until I had permission from their mothers, but that's part of what I chose to share. However, there are a lot of people who think they know every single piece of our life and they are really only getting the surface of what I'm showing you. Right. Now, I will still show you because I think it's important to not always show the highlights.
Yeah.
And to show
you can show and show the journey, show the challenges, I think Brene Brown talks about this. Somebody does where it's like better to show the scar than the open wound. Like talking about it backwards, it gives a little bit more trust because you can speak to how you got through it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you have to decide, like, not everyone's going to be comfortable with that.
Right.
Sharing their family. Like, I can literally go back to the beginning of our business and show you the growth of quality through my personal Facebook.
100%.
And
100%.
Like, contribute specific revenue. To this day, my messenger will blow up. And sometimes I tell industry people, my messenger, if you message me, I'm not always 100% responsive. But if you are a local person, I'm really responsive because you need me right
well, and now. I think that is another thing that you do. So looking at the 3S framework with 50% of it being your relatable show up content, 30% of it being more educational around like whatever your business is, and then 20% of it being like business stuff. You do a really good job on that too, because you're sharing posts that are really relevant. So you're not like posting like, oh, quality is doing this, but like you will reshare things that quality has done or the day in the life in the office, or like, this is what we're doing. Or look at, you posted something one time. I feel like, boy, I've studied Cassie's Facebook a lot.
Oh, hey.
But you posted something one time that was like a checklist that you had your team doing. And it was really just a picture that is showing your warm network of people that you have built in your community who are your customers, that you own a heating and air and plumbing and electric company. And like you have all of these things. Like there's just so much about that post that was great for sales and like was not salesy. But you were like sharing something about the business.
That's the trick, the shtick, the whatever, that it's the percentages, right? Like I share a lot of my kids. I share a lot of when we were building our house, or a lot of the cows, right? Because they're cute and fluffy, and they cost us a lot of money and they better have some freaking babies soon. Okay. But I share all of those pieces that are relatable that people love, right? At this conference, several people have asked us about our fluffy cows. Several people have asked about the donkeys, and I haven't posted enough about them lately because I've been traveling full time apparently, but I share all of those pieces, right? And then I'm going to slide in some of these other things. I slide in Power Women of the Trades. I slide in the heat and air. I slide in electric. I'm not always, I've even pushed back on Jen a few times. Like she's like, we need a call to action on this. And I was like, no, we don't, we don't know, not really push back, but you know what I mean? Like, because that's her job in marketing for quality, right? Is the call to action, especially when she's managing our ads. She definitely was supposed to have that, right? And I'm like, we don't need that on this, right? But I don't want my Facebook to be just like an ad.
No, and it shouldn't.
And it can't be.
No.
Because if it is, then you are missing the mark, and it's like unsubscribing.
There's a lot of people that are, and you're absolutely right. You get tired of hearing it. There has to be a well-rounded perspective to that personal brand.
Well, and from like a very analytical standpoint, when you have that content that's relatable, that's fun, that is no pressure, like nobody has any pressure in engaging with pictures of fluffy cows. Like that's not, it doesn't feel like anything. When I like explain it at this point, I feel like I'm being like super like manipulative with content, and it's not, because I don't share from a manipulative place. I love to share what I'm doing. I love that it engages people, but that's how you keep your content in the algorithm. Like when you have content that is engaging, highly engaging, people are liking, sharing, or commenting, whatever, then you slide in a post about quality and it's going to show up in the newsfeed. And so like you're training the algorithm that people do like your content. You are valuable. And so when you're only posting educational things and you're only posting things about your business, like no one's ever going to see it. It's just going to keep falling down.
Because it gets muddy. And no one, like we've said a million times, like no one's scrolling Facebook and then like, hell yeah, today I'm buying a water heater.
No.
You know, like no one's doing that. Now, if we were all selling, if we were all selling like t-shirts
like
or
fasted things. And that's why for ads, I'm always like low ticket, like, yes, everyone needs this things is
But
like the easiest. Yes. Because you're right. But even I will say, so we bought an entirely new HVAC system this year, and spent a lot of money on it. And the company that we chose was because they have the best marketing. And I know that from a marketing standpoint, like that's what made me want to work with them because of their whole marketing thing. All of the money that they've invested in marketing that I've been watching for 10 years, all went back to them on that day. And so
because the whole story matters. And, you know, I disagree. Hot take. When people are like, well, we're not, I had someone, a marketer once tell me, we're not big on just branding. We're looking for specific call to actions. And sometimes I just want branded content out there. I'm not asking for something because I just want you to remember us later when you need us. Yeah. And that's what those people did, that company for you, when you bought your new HVAC system, because you didn't need them. And then you remembered them because their branding and marketing was great.
100%. And that's also why it's such a long game. Like,
it is.
This is a long game. Like people, you know, want their social media to work tomorrow, and it's not. You just said it's 10 years of work putting in building a personal brand. And it sounds like a lasting
impression.
It sounds like a lot, but like you're losing more not starting it right now.
Most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Kee Hart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Kee Hart Marketing at keehartmarketing.com.
And that's like, it goes into your company marketing and branding on social media as well. And that's why I always I get my hot take on, you know, like our local competitors being very blatantly copying what we do, right? It's funny to me because I know if they copy and paste exactly what we do, it's not going to work for them because they have not put in the work that we have to build the trust that we have in the community,
100%.
The reputation on social media. And it's very obvious when it's exactly the same, right? And so you have to build up to that. If you're just like, okay, well, on Mondays they post this, so we're going to change the words a little bit and do that. LOL.
That's not a strategy.
But it's not a strategy.
That's a content calendar, which is great. And it feeds into your marketing strategy, but it's like a part of a bigger picture that you guys are doing.
And it's a 24/7 job, right? Like, and I say 24/7, but literally the other day I woke up in the middle of the night, walked to the bathroom to get a drink of water and made a note in my phone of something I needed Kaylee to do for quality. And we completely changed a direction we were going because I woke up thinking about it. If marketing and branding is not that intense for you, you can't just copy someone's content calendar. No. It's not ever going to work.
No, I know. I posted the other day something like, we're not doing medical surgeries, but like there's still things that have to move really fast sometimes. And I know that nothing is going to burn down. If I want us to move fast. That's like how it is. Like, keep going. Sometimes that means doing it from your phone at 10 p.m. Or pulling your computer out and or in your house, like you're talking about doing. Like, just gotta fix this one ad.
100%, right? And I mean, that's how constant it has to be, or you just are not ready to keep up with everyone around you. Yeah. Because social media is so fast paced, because life has become so fast paced, everyone's moving at this pace, right? If we're no longer the environment of let's talk about this in 2 weeks. Like, no, in 2 weeks it's changed. Yeah. Right.
It's over. So I think that you brought up another side to that that's really important that I think can get stuck with people whenever they're thinking about what to post for their personal brand or even their business brand, but like is moving really fast. So just post the thing and then like post the next thing. But if you're spending so much time worrying about this first thing that you're posting, you've already missed like a whole bunch of stuff.
Or stalled out. It sounds like, you would
stall out.
Like social media content for the most part doesn't have that long of a life. It doesn't have a long enough life to
think about it for very long.
Hours and hours and hours on it. And it's like, okay, well, that lasted on Instagram for 38 seconds. Like, that was good.
Or just because
Yeah. Like what? No, you spent way too much energy on that. Like the bigger picture is the consistency over time. That's going to like bring you a lot more traction of showing up multiple times a day or multiple times a week. Right. And then seeing it over and over and over and over again. And that's when it starts to make an impact. Like that one video that's going to take you. And I mean, yes, there are times like I'm not discounting because we do social media and there are definitely times that videos take a while and you're like, dang, that took way too long. And they are good. And that's great. But it also like, you can't overthink it. And I think that's what happens, that people start overthinking. They're not even doing, they're just like thinking for so long about it or trying to make it perfect. And it's like, just get it out there.
I feel like a mistake I see quite a bit to them. It was their $1 million idea and it just was a total miss.
Yeah.
And then they're just like trying to push and push and
like
push
you won't
and
let go.
And it's like, bro, you got to let that go.
Yeah.
Like nobody
it's costing you more money.
It's costing you more money and nobody cares. We see that in our market a lot. If you pay attention, especially with branding, to your competitors' ads, you can typically find out quickly if you're in the right frame of mind or not. And you can see like the traction of not happening or not happening. But you have to know, I'm trying to like politically correct and not cuss, say, you have to know when that didn't work and be able to humble yourself and say that didn't work.
Yeah.
And we see a lot across the nation, not just in like in our market, where someone had like this brilliant idea and it just wasn't. And they're just putting so much effort back into it. And I was like, bud, you're wasting your money.
Yeah. And that's really tough because I think also there's a side of it where sometimes things need time, like to test it out.
You have to know.
It's hard to know.
Should we stay or should we? I got all kinds of songs in my heart today.
Yeah.
It's like, should we stay or should we go?
And, or at least like keep pivoting. And you have to like, speaking specifically about content, you have to look at the right analytics. So, okay. So maybe it's like not getting, I'm going to take an example. I have a TikTok channel that has less than 1,000 followers. So if you were just looking at that, you're like, well, Jen, it doesn't really seem like it's like doing as good as it could. But if you go deeper into the analytics, every time that people find it, they binge all the content and they're saving it and then they're following me. So I'm like, actually, I'm finding exactly the right people. It's just moving slow. Yeah. And so like, if you look at the right analytics, you can see if an idea is working or not.
Right.
Like, okay, so maybe it's not getting a lot of views, but it's getting really great engagement. That's good. Like keep doing it. Or if it's like getting no engagement with high views, that's a problem. Now a lot of people are seeing it and nobody's engaging.
Nobody cares. Or like,
that's not good.
On TikTok, I love when it's like, so-and-so saw this and on my like personal TikTok, I'll see, and it's like they viewed 3 seconds. I'm like, well, that was a bust. They missed the other 47 seconds. So maybe we won't be pushing that one anymore.
That was a hook problem.
Yeah.
You didn't
100%. I didn't catch them on the hook.
Right.
But,
and so knowing the right analytics is so important, right? Because you could be like, well, Cassie, you had a lot of good things to say, but you didn't catch your attention at the first.
Yeah.
So I think it was Mr. Beast that was talking one time about content creation and like creating a whole bunch of hooks for the same video and testing them out just to see like which ones are catching people's attention, which is a whole nother strategy if you're going like super deep into content creation, which I don't recommend for anybody listening to this podcast unless that's like how you're going to start making money. Otherwise, just focus on your personal brand for now.
Yes. And if you want to do those other things, you just have to hire the right people.
For sure.
Because that's the other problem is
time
and commitment. But we see people come to, there's a reason why when you're at conferences, you've heard a million times, like it's like the top only 5% are going to leave this conference and do something with what they heard, right?
100%.
Or 3%. It's always a different number. 5, 3, 2, 1, be the 1%, right? But you'll hear this podcast, right? And then say immediately, this is what I'm going to go do and spend all this time trying to figure out how to be an official content creator. But while you're trying to do that, you're losing focus on the actual business that's creating the money for your livelihood. And so it's wiser to hire someone that's helping, that already has that content creation skill, and like Jen.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And let her
unless, like
do
she
that.
said, you want to spend all this time going down a rabbit hole. It's not going to pan out for
you're
you.
a content creator. Like, okay, but
no, you're just a content creator, but like you can't respectfully go sell heating and air.
Yeah.
You know how to help create the content, right? Like you couldn't do that. And so I think that's where people, especially like on a smaller scale, because there's not a lot of budget for the ad spend, right? Or the vendor spend or whatever for marketing always in smaller businesses. And so they're like, okay, well, I can go try to replicate this. And you can can try and we're not saying you absolutely can't do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do it at this level,
as quickly
and
efficiently
as someone else, because you're going to have to spend so much learning that you'll lose focus on that. And listen, I mean, we could replace this with recruiting or this with whatever else. Like it is wise. I used to be that owner that I was like, I don't need those vendors.
Yeah.
Because I can do it all myself. The sacrifice in that was not focusing on the actual business that funneled the funds for those things, because you can only be like, what is it? Jill of all trades, but master of none.
Yeah.
Like you need to actually have what your master is, right? And focus on that, and then develop a team that helps you with everything else.
Yeah. I think that's key.
For sure.
Art marketing.
Key Hart Marketing.
Like what you did there.
I love that. We just made you a new cook.
Yeah.
A new hook. That's key.
So my podcast that I'm going to drop eventually is called The Key to Growth.
The Key to Growth.
Home service marketing. And we'll just talk about marketing.
Yes. And when that launches, we will post about that on our socials, because we are big Jen fans. Jen has been huge
quality. You guys do a great job with marketing. So I've always said I want to talk to Kaylee about it and get y'all secrets, you know, so everyone can copy you.
Yeah. It's so funny. We mean that like all love. Respectfully. Yes. That's a Cassie found trademarked word, respectfully. My kids always say, you could say respectfully, but it still actually hurts whenever you said whatever you said. And I'm like, okay, well, disrespectfully. Well, Jen, we really appreciate all that you do for our space.
Thank you.
Super proud of you,
and
the growth that I've got to watch Kee Hart Marketing become in the last couple of years.
Awesome.
And can't wait to see the future. And we will, if you're interested in reaching out to Jen, she is on all the social media platforms. Her information will be in our show notes.
Yes.
She'll make sure, because she's going to post those.
We'll be on social media. We'll be on social media.
Yes, for sure. And reach out to her. She's the best. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple, and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.